Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you're all doing great. So today we're talking about the brand new update for the Outer Worlds, which just got its latest patch. And let me tell you, this one's a pretty interesting update because it's not just your usual small bug fix or stability tweak. It actually touches a bunch of areas that players have been asking about for a while now. Whether you've been playing through the story again on PS5, checking it out on Xbox, or running it on PC with all your mods and performance settings dialed in, this patch has a few things you'll definitely want to know about. So first off, yes, the update is officially labeled as 1.004 on PlayStation 5, but across the board, it's actually the same global patch as version 1.1.4.0 on other platforms like PC and Xbox. Sometimes that causes confusion. People think the console got a different build, but it's really just a naming difference. The content and fixes are the same. The download size isn't massive, so don't expect a huge install time, but what's inside does address some annoying issues that were lingering for a bit. One of the biggest highlights, and something players immediately noticed, is that the PS5 Premium Edition rewards are finally working correctly. If you were one of those players who picked up the Corporate Appreciation Prize Pack or Commander Zane's Battle Pack, but couldn't actually get the rewards to show up properly in your inventory, this patch fixes that. Before, a lot of players were stuck wondering where their bonus items were or why they didn't trigger when they should have. That's all sorted out now, so if you jump back into your game, you'll actually have what you paid for. It's the kind of fix that feels small on paper, but makes a real difference because it affects how complete your purchase feels. Now, another area where this update really helps is with quests. And this is a big one because The Outer Worlds, while an awesome game with great writing and humor, has always been a bit prone to weird quest bugs. You know, the kind that just quietly break your progress or make an NPC vanish when you really need to talk to them. In this patch, several quests got fixed up, including one called Forbidden Secrets. Apparently there were issues where certain triggers wouldn't activate, or quest markers weren't updating when they were supposed to. Then there's Crash Course in Telemetry, which also got patched up for smoother progression. And one that people kept bringing up was a problem with Inez not appearing in Fairfield after the Ministry of Accuracy mission. It's one of those frustrating moments where you finish an important step, head to the next location, and boom, someone just doesn't spawn. That's no longer an issue. So now the quest should move forward properly. There's also been this annoying bug where the game would fade to black when you were returning to the Praetor landing pad, and it would just stay like that. Imagine finishing a long mission, ready to wrap things up, and suddenly your screen just goes dark like the game forgot what to load next. Thankfully, this update clears that out, and you can actually continue playing without getting stuck in a soft lock. I know for a lot of players, especially those who've been replaying with new characters or going for completionist runs, these fixes are a big relief. On top of the quest and progression improvements, there are a bunch of stability fixes. This is something every patch should have, but it's always worth mentioning because The Outer Worlds, while generally pretty stable, did have some random crashes for some players. According to the notes, multiple crash causes were addressed this time, including rare instances where players would actually fall through the world. Yeah, the classic goodbye ground glitch. It's not unique to this game, but it's definitely immersion breaking when it happens. The patch clears up a few of those edge cases where collision detection failed or the player model didn't reset properly when loading into new areas. There were also updates to UI and UX, and that's something people sometimes underestimate in patch notes, but it actually affects your day-to-day play experience a lot. One fix that stood out to me was that subtitle settings now save and display properly. Before, some players would tweak their settings. Maybe they wanted subtitles off, or maybe they preferred a certain font size, and then when they reloaded the game, those changes would just reset. It's one of those little annoyances that can make the experience feel less polished. Now, it should remember your preferences like it's supposed to. Another nice touch is the fix for the dematerializer weapon issue. Apparently, if you saved and loaded your game while using it, you could end up in a state where the weapon didn't re-equip properly afterward. That's fixed now, so weapon management should feel a bit smoother. If you're one of those players who likes experimenting with all the different weapon types and tactical options the game offers, this one's going to save you some headaches. Now, from what I've seen in player discussions, especially on PC, people are saying they've noticed a few unlisted changes as well. For example, some are reporting that DLSS performance and image stability have been tweaked a little. It's not in the official notes, but apparently there's a slight improvement in how DLSS handles flickering or ghosting during certain lighting transitions, like when you move quickly between bright and dark areas. The trade-off, at least for a few users, seems to be a very small drop in FPS, nothing major, but enough for those who monitor their performance closely to notice. It could just be a side effect of updated drivers or internal rendering adjustments. Either way, it seems the game looks a little cleaner in motion now, especially on higher-end setups. I think what's cool about this update is that it feels like Obsidian is quietly ironing out the wrinkles before we get closer to whatever's coming next for the Outer Worlds. There's been a lot of talk about the Outer Worlds too, and while this patch obviously doesn't introduce new content, it does show that the team hasn't abandoned polishing the current build. They're still maintaining the experience for players who are jumping back in or picking it up for the first time. You can tell that they're trying to make sure the technical foundation is solid, which is always a good sign for the future of the series. Something else that's worth mentioning is just how smooth the update rollout was this time. Sometimes after a patch, you'll see people complaining about new bugs popping up or save files breaking. This time, reports have been pretty calm. I've been scrolling through Reddit and various community threads, and while there's the usual handful of people with unique setups having issues, the majority are saying it's stable and even feels more responsive in certain spots. It's nice when a patch actually improves the experience without creating new problems to fix later. Another little thing I noticed, loading times on consoles seem to feel slightly faster after the update. Now, that might be placebo, or it might just be improved memory handling from the stability fixes, but either way, transitions between major zones seem snappier. On PS5 specifically, the build version reads as 1.04 throned, and if you want to double check, you can go to the game tile, hit options, and look at the update history. It should show the patch details right there. On PC and Xbox, you'll see it listed as 1.0.4.0, but again, it's the exact same patch. It's small touches like these that make me appreciate how The Outer Worlds continues to get attention. The game's writing and charm have always been its strongest points, but having the technical side finally match that quality just makes it feel more complete. When it first launched, the humor and world building were incredible, but there were definitely a few rough edges in terms of bugs and optimization. Now, a few years later, the overall experience feels way smoother and more consistent across all platforms. It's also worth remembering that this update doesn't require any special steps to install, just a normal automatic download depending on your console or launcher. Once it's installed, your save files should be perfectly compatible, and you'll notice the changes immediately without needing to start a new game. Now, for those who haven't played The Outer Worlds in a while, this might actually be a great time to jump back in. The fixes make replaying less frustrating, especially if you were previously stuck on a broken quest or dealing with visual glitches. It's one of those updates that doesn't reinvent the game, but makes everything feel smoother and more polished. If you've got one of those unfinished playthroughs sitting there in your save list, this might be the nudge to finally go back and wrap it up. And it's honestly a reminder of why this game still holds up so well. The humor, the dialogue choices, the weird morally gray moments, those haven't gone anywhere, but now the performance and stability make it easier to enjoy them without interruptions. With these updates coming through steadily, it's like the game's reaching a kind of definitive level of polish before attention fully shifts to the sequel. So yeah, overall, update 1.004 may not sound flashy, but it's one of those quietly important ones that just make the experience better in all the right ways.